We were pretty famous back in high school. Trust us!
Had a whole future ahead of us, but now we suck.
All that potential now is flowing in the aqueducts.
Through the sands of time, many did forget.
But now our time has come to resurrect. But a podcast?
Sad I know, but can you blame us?
We are desperate to be much more than high school famous.
Hello and welcome to High School Famous. You just start talking. What? I just started talking and then you started talking.
I was going to try to do the intro this time.
Oh, you want to do the intro this time?
But I don't remember how it all goes.
We can cut this all out.
No, we can keep it in too.
Okay.
Let me try. I'll try the intro this time. Let's see if I can remember it.
Yep.
Hello and welcome to another episode of High School Famous, the podcast where we might talk about high school, but hopefully won't.
Yeah. There you go.
Hey.
It was so smooth.
So I am Sean, and I am on this podcast.
And I am Matt, and I am not on this podcast. Or am I?
Oh, well. Or are we?
Yep.
We both are.
We both are. Well,
right,
Sean,
so
it's another week, and let's fill in the listener or listeners,
plural,
depending,
hopefully,
on what we've been up to this last week.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
Would you like to go first, or would you like me to go first?
Sure, I'll go first. All right. Matt here, and I was pretty busy this week, as you could imagine. First, I took my pair of underwear in for mending. They needed seams repaired in the back, and I figured, why do I have seams in the back? And I figured I'd have the front taken in a couple of inches while I was at it. They were just feeling a bit roomy. Anyways, this is the seamstress's busy time of the year, so I won't get them back until next Tuesday. So until then, I'm going to have to make sure I keep my legs crossed when I'm sitting down. Otherwise, those around me might catch a glimpse of my prison tattoos, and they're not exactly legal. Well, I guess that depends. Is it illegal to depict bestiality with a bald eagle? I mean, I know I can't do it for real, but a tattoo of it should be fine, right? I just had to get it. I can't get enough of the thought of a spread eagle being, do I have to explain it? Anyways, double entendres are my jam. That's what I'm really about, Oh man, just it's emotional to be just letting all this out.
Yeah.
But that's not the most exciting thing about my week. Some of my investments went my way, and I found myself with a pretty big chunk of money. Now I'll finally be able to bury my parents' house, like I've always threatened, and they'll have no idea when it's gonna happen either. I may have added some commas. Where there wasn't supposed to be some.
You think you did?
I just some odd pauses, I believe, when I was telling my story.
Off the cuff with, you're not reading this from a script of any kind.
Yeah, this is just right out. This is right out my fresh brain.
Yeah. So
freshest part.
I've known you for a while.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think you've ever mentioned anything about any kind of tattoos in your underwear region, or that you're threatening to bury your parents' house.
I mean, I've been threatening it for years.
Yeah.
Mostly, under my breath.
Oh.
And mostly to strangers. Never directly to my parents. Just to passersby.
You've been threatening it from the area that your prison tattoos are located? Could be.
I mean, the weirdest thing about the fact that I had those prison tattoos is I've never been to prison. So, I mean...
You've never been incarcerated. I know you've written a lot of letters to inmates.
Right. I've only ever visited prison.
Conjugally.
Yeah. Those are conjugal tattoos.
Episode title, here we come.
Wow, that's really early for an episode title. We're only 5 minutes in. 5 minutes in, and we already
I
have
love-
conjugal tattoos. I'm going to just go ahead and
Conjugal
jot that down.
tattoos. Write it right on the old ledger.
That's why I always keep paper nearby.
Yeah, I should do that. I'll just
I have like a whole little
do
like
something else.
pad of paper thingy. I got these things from a dollar store, like a bunch of them for like board games when you have to like fill out stuff.
Oh,
It's brilliant.
Yahtzee and whatnot.
Or just like games where you have to write down answers. I just bought a ton of those little notepad things because they're just $1 for like 100 sheets or something.
That makes
Anyways,
sense.
Conjugal tattoos. Back to that.
Yeah.
Anyways,
those types of pads of paper are also called tablets. Did you know that?
yeah. It's just says it's a notepad.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Another name for them is tablets. Oh, okay. Well,
The more
I think
you
I
know.
should talk about my week now.
Yeah, Sean, why don't you tell me about your week?
Well, geez, I'm so excited to tell everyone about my week.
Yeah.
So here we go. Sweet biscuits, everyone. It is Sean again, coming at you with another week in my life. I realized on Monday I hadn't eaten anything in days. No, weeks, really. No, days. Maybe it had been hours. Either way, I decided to make a run to the grocery store. Since I refused to add to the population of the planet's air supply, I, of course, took my chariot.
I'm pretty sure that says pollution.
What did I say?
You said population.
Population. Oh, I know. Yeah, right. You're right. Since I refused to add to the pollution of the planet's air supply, I, of course, took my chariot. As I suspected, all of my enemies had also chosen to take out their chariots also. So they also chose to take them out also.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Talk about strange, unnecessary pauses. And so 4 dead dogs later, I made it to the grocery store. I have a chariot that's pulled by dogs, I guess.
Or
Is that what we're getting at?
Or
I trampled dogs
you
on
had
the way?
to somehow, or dogs are maybe your enemies.
Dogs might be my
There's
enemies.
a lot of
So
options.
Yeah, this is suggesting that I may be racing against dogs that are traveling by chariot.
Possibly. Or who's to
Okay.
even say you killed these dogs?
You're right.
The
There's
dog,
just
the
4
dog death can be completely unrelated.
I think. Well, maybe we
You
can
tell
sit on
me.
this for a bit, or I can. I think what it basically means is, I looked up the statistics on the amount of dogs that die per year on average, and I worked that out to the minute. And so then I took the amount of time it took me to take a chariot trip to the grocery store, and that worked out to be about 4 dead dogs worth of
Okay.
time to get to the grocery store.
Is this within your city limits or within the world?
I don't remember what it's it's throughout the universe.
Okay. The entire.
Yeah.
Okay.
But this might be a typo because I did kill some dogs manually on the way. But anyway, moving on. Things only got worse from there. You know what they always say, never shop on an empty wallet. Yeah, this might be going somewhere I can predict here. Now, with the police hot on my tail, not my trail, I'm in my chariot moving as fast as 4 dead dogs will take me. Okay. All right. So hours turned into minutes before I finally lost the cops and could sit down and enjoy my bounty. Unfortunately, the only thing I took was the samples that they were handing out that day. So now I was curious as to why the police were chasing me at all. Apparently, I hadn't actually committed any crimes at that time. Maybe it was for previous crimes, or maybe it was for future crimes. Oh, that's a sexy thought. Now I'm sitting there just thinking about what future crimes I might commit. I sat there for 3 days thinking about what future crimes I might do when I realized I hadn't eaten anything for 3 days. Long story short, I ended up killing a lot more dogs. Okay. Yeah, so, I mean...
I like how you...
Not
it says apparently you hadn't committed any crimes that time.
That time. Right. So, it's more likely that the police would be after me for previous crimes, considering this time I hadn't committed any crimes.
Possibly. But if anybody knows the story Minority Report,
which I don't remember,
then you can be arrested for future crimes.
Oh, right. He goes to the future to stop crimes.
No,
right?
they have, there's people, they have like oracles or whatever that can predict future crimes.
So they
arrest
stop them
people
before they're committed.
Yep.
That's stupid. That's what that movie's about?
Pretty much.
I mean, I did see it, I think, years ago.
Right.
But I obviously don't remember anything about it.
The book's probably better.
The book is probably better. And ask anyone.
Even
Is it a book?
I believe so. I believe the movie's based off a book.
So let's see.
I mean, it's more likely that the police were after you for all the dog murder.
The dog murders, yeah.
Right.
I mean, if it's a scenario where the dogs just happen to die while servicing me, like they're my source of transport. My source of transport.
Okay.
You're the one with the bestiality tattoo in your groin area, so
that's why my mind immediately jumped there.
Yeah. So, I mean, if that were the case, that's not my fault. They should know their own limits as dogs, and they should be able to tell me to stop whipping them if they're tired.
So basically, what you're saying is, if anybody dies while providing service for you, non-sexual or otherwise,
right,
it's not your fault if they die, no matter what.
Well, yes. One thing people don't realize either. Dogs don't understand the concept of traffic lights, so we get into a lot of sticky situations when we come up to intersections.
And you don't
dogs and I.
And you don't do anything to stop them. You don't like pull back on the reins to slow them down or nothing. You just like,
well,
hey,
again,
hey, if they don't know that the color red, which I don't think they see well, means stop.
No. Interesting. They don't see the color red well.
I don't know how, like, what dog vision like really looks like.
Well, you could be right, but it's interesting, the whole lipstick thing.
You know.
So who do you think out of the two of us had him?
You blamed me for bringing up bestiality when really, let's be honest, you wrote that and now you've brought it up twice since then.
Once since then.
Well, okay.
I said dogs servicing me. You assumed I was referring to,
but I didn't say anything.
You're right, but I could see it.
You looked at my face and you made an assumption based on the face I was making.
Yeah, I did. I should point out I saw a few elements in this report that screamed high school short story writing from Matt Schlegel, and I'm trying to find them again.
Is it the
beginning?
Days,
the beginning
no weeks, no days. Maybe it was
days,
hours.
No weeks, no days. Right, and then there was the. I think the future crimes idea was another one.
Possibly.
Yeah.
Maybe it was for or maybe it was for future crimes. Oh, that's a sexy thought.
Yeah, I mean, you might have written that's a sexy thought, but either way, when I read the weeks, no days, maybe it's been hours.
Yeah,
like that takes me back.
Mm-hmm.
So it's hard to say. It's hard to say who had the more interesting week. I like how for the most part. I mean, you did say that my ordeal stretched out over a few days, but both of us describing our weeks describe something that occurred over the course of one day. Like you bringing your underwear to the seamstress, right. Me going to the grocery store. So
yeah, that's kind of why I added the part that you sat there for several days thinking about your future crimes.
Yeah. So the dogs thing. So it appears, yeah, we still don't really know what is going on. What the dogs?
Well, at first there was 4 dead dogs. At the end, you ended up killing a lot more dogs.
And that's so we could debate what is considered a lot more, because if the initial number is 4,
mm-hmm.
killing 2 more dogs or even 4 more dogs might not even be considered a lot more because it's equal to the amount that I killed the first time.
No, I would say a lot more.
At least double.
Has to be double the previous.
So then we're talking like, a minimum of 12 dogs.
No, it would be a minimum
total.
Oh yeah, total.
We got the first 4 and then at least 8 more.
8. Yeah.
I mean, did I ever come across my enemies on the way to the grocery store?
You tell me. I mean, they were all out there.
They were
out there with their chariots, but basically if you ended up killing the first 4 dogs and those first 4 dogs were your chariot dogs, it sounds like you got to the grocery store and then murdered your dogs.
I mean, I could have killed them along the way and then ran the rest of the way.
But then at that point, why do you even need to go to the grocery store? You could just eat your dogs.
Well, I mean, that's one thing. Like, I know I'm out of butter right now, so I have to go get some butter.
Right.
And so there's other things you get at the grocery store that aren't just
dog meat. I don't go to the grocery store just to get dog meat.
Just to get dog meat. I mean, if it's on sale and I don't need anything else, yeah, I'll go just for dog meat.
Right.
But otherwise, I'm planning a trip with a lot of things on my list.
True.
Toiletries, beauty products, pantry stuff, canned goods, perishables,
I
all
mean,
that kind of stuff.
I specifically go buy perishables all the time.
I need stuff that's not going to last a long time.
I mean, and in the end, a chariot's not the best thing to go to the grocery store with if you need a lot of items. Or in general, if you need to go get, if it's more than just a quick little run where you need to get like one or two items, bringing your chariot's just a bad idea.
You haven't seen the size of my chariot.
Is it more of a carriage?
Well, also, I do need to think about how much, especially if I'm going to kill all my dogs, because then I got no. Because
now you're walking home.
I'm walking home and trying to maybe even carry or push the chariot. I could push the chariot on its wheels. That'd be okay.
Well, the problem with that is chariots typically only have the one axle.
Right.
So to push
but
it,
if you hold
but then you're loading it with all your groceries. Now you're holding it and pushing it because they typically.
It's like push.
I don't know which way they would necessarily tip forward or backwards.
Well, here's the way to do it. You load up your stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You walk around to the front of it and grab the top edge where you normally be standing and facing and holding onto when you're riding it. Tip it toward you and push.
Okay.
Because then all the groceries lean and go toward the front edge and go to the wall, so they're not going to fall out. And the wheels are going to be big on those, so it's not going to take a lot of energy to get a good distance traveled with it. So I think this is not a dumb decision.
Okay, I'll allow your logic of how you would push a chariot home from the grocery store.
But if you do, because otherwise, think about it. Let's say my dogs can barely pull me. I loaded up with a bunch of groceries. They're going to be struggling home anyway. It's probably going to be faster for me to kill the dogs and push the chariot home.
I'm still wrapping my head around the logic of how it would be better for you to kill your dogs.
Well, should I specify that I don't take the dogs back with me? I leave them there, so I don't have to worry about that weight. Or I sit there for days and eat the dog meat while I'm. What happened? What did I do? Because I sat there for 3 days.
You Caligulaed yourself. You Caligulaed yourself over to the grocery store,
right?
And then I ended up and murdered some dogs, ate some samples.
Yeah, I did.
Pondered life, and then killed more dogs.
Yeah, and so I sat there for 3 days thinking about future crimes I might do,
and then committed some.
Well, yeah. I mean, if the only crime I could think of was killing. How limited is my imagination? Where on the same trip I killed dogs, and then all I could think about to do in the future as possible crimes is just kill more dogs.
Yep.
And then, so I hadn't eaten anything. In 3 days. So that suggests that I didn't kill dogs and then eat them to sustain myself over the course of the 3 days.
No,
I ate my samples,
and
then I starved for 3 days.
Yep.
And if that's all I took from the store was samples, I have nothing to cart back from the grocery store anyway. I'm just pushing an empty chariot.
Not this time.
Right. But we're only talking about this time.
Well, yeah, but then you hadn't eaten in 3 days, so then what did you do after those 3 days when you realized you hadn't eaten anything and you needed to eat something?
My guess is the heat was off me by that point, so I went back into the grocery store.
Right.
I was theoretically right there.
Did you commit more crimes? I mean, you killed more dogs.
I may have thought about killing more dogs.
And you didn't have your wallet.
That's the only crime I can imagine. Well, I had an empty wallet, according to my story.
Right.
Right.
I think what is being insinuated here is that you robbed the grocery store
of samples
at dead dog point and killed more dogs.
I mean, that could be it.
I don't know. You tell me.
Yeah, it was a good week though. So, you're a couple days away from getting your underwear back.
Can't wait. Stupidly enough though, I don't like to wear pants without wearing underwear. So, I've just been I've been Donald Ducking it for a few days.
Yeah.
which, makes getting my mail kind of hard.
Is that a double entendre again?
Oh, that was one of my problems, wasn't
it? That's your jam. That's not a problem.
That would be such a gross way to describe getting an erection.
It makes getting my mail kind of hard.
Yeah. Just saying getting my mail hard. It's just...
Yeah.
Oh, no. That's wrong. I should probably put some pants on.
Yeah, I mean, it's getting cold out there.
Trust me.
That's
why I had my underwear taken into the front.
Yeah.
I always do that in the winter.
As much airflow.
Yeah, I take it in the winter and I let it back out in the summer.
But as you I see.
Yeah, there's a lot they're getting pretty worn out from all the
alterations.
All the alterations. Might have to think about buying a second pair.
I fluctuate a lot. Well, I mean, just don't blow all your newfound money on burying your parents' house and spring for a 5-pack at a 5-pack of Fruit of the Looms at Target.
Who says burying my parents' house is going to cost me anything? I mean,
how are you going to go about doing this on your own?
A shovel and some dirt. And the good news is there's dirt all over the place, and shovels are not hard to come by. I can find a shovel.
So here's what I'm wondering about burying the house. Are you going to cover the house in dirt?
I mean,
or are you going to somehow dig under the house so it slowly sinks down so that the top of the house is at ground level?
I mean,
just below ground level.
I might do a combination of the two. So I'll start digging out around the house, throwing that dirt on top of the house, and then slowly start kind of scraping away underneath. Just keep throwing all the dirt I'm digging out on top. So it's kind of sinking down and getting covered at the same time.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, you'd potentially end up with half of a house sticking up out of the ground, maybe, but covered.
But it'd be covered.
There'd be a mound.
It would just be a mound, yeah.
Kids could play King of the Hill on it or sled down it during the winter, right into Main Street.
But then I'll also still keep access to the front door of the house because my parents will still be living in it.
Right.
Yeah. I intend to bury them alive inside of their house.
I assumed that.
So yeah, they'll still be living in it. I'll just have to leave, enough, space for airflow so they don't suffocate. So needy with air.
Just stick some long straws down through the dirt in a couple different spots.
Right, but not plastic straws. It's bad for the environment.
Right, the biodegradable ones that won't last in the ground for very long.
Just have to keep replacing them. I'll set an alarm on my phone to remind me to replace my parents' breathing straws.
Yeah. Oh, this is weird.
Yeah, well, we did this to ourselves.
We did.
Mm-hmm. So, did you actually do anything anything actually cool this week? I sure didn't.
I played a round of disc golf yesterday. Well, a partial round. I don't think so. No, I didn't do anything that was really cool.
Yeah, me neither.
No, it's one of those things.
Well, yeah, it's like pandemic, and then it's starting to get colder out, so it's that less of a chance of going out and doing something interesting now. I know
this vaccine can't come any sooner.
Right. Be interesting to see how effective it is.
Right.
Because I don't think we'll ever be fully rid of it, but
no, I mean,
if it's treatable.
I'm imagining it's something we'll have to get every year, kind of like a flu shot.
Right.
But the pandemic, the 1918, what do they call it? The Spanish flu or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
What was that called? That, variations of that are still around today. That virus or whatever. So yeah, it's not just going to go away.
Right.
But if we have a vaccine for it, they could, and if there's a different, what do they call it? A strain of it next year, it'll probably be easier to develop a new version of the, maybe those call it the COVID shot, your annual COVID shot.
Yeah, probably.
So yeah. But who knows? We'll see. We'll see how many more people. We'll see how many more people decide to, insist on holiday travel and large gatherings and stuff, and get sick and die from it before the vaccine becomes available.
Yeah, like we've already decided that there's such a slim chance of us coming home for Christmas this year, so we will most likely just stay here and then mail out everything, I guess. We're probably just going to do gift cards for everybody because it's just too much to try to buy big presents and mail out big boxes of a bunch of stuff. So
yeah, it's easier to ship that way.
Right.
Yeah, Leo might be going down to visit Grandma and Grandpa, but I would rather not fly him down there.
Right.
So right now the running idea is that I might meet them kind of halfway driving and hand him off and then drive back.
That is a long trip.
Yeah, I think it'd be like, well, I think the drop off point would be not his great aunt's house, so it might be like a 9-hour drive there. Wow. It might be 18 hours in the car. But
so basically,
probably like
drive down, drop him off, spend the night somewhere.
Yeah, I think there'd be a hotel situation going on.
Yeah,
yeah. So that's in talks. I really don't want to take a plane
because they're down in Texas.
Yeah.
So then that's the other thing is Texas is really bad right now too.
I know that's the thing.
That's the other part. It's like, okay, send him down there, and then there's it's just as risky there as it is anywhere else, if not more.
I know they're home all the time. They can drive up to this, like it's called a deer lease that he has that they can drive to and take him there for a bit. But I think there'll be a lot of hanging out at their house. If it's warm enough, he'll be able to go swimming and stuff in the pool, so he'll be able to be entertained a little bit. He's always got Lego sets there he can play with and stuff. So.
Yeah,
but good to get him out of here and in some other kind of environment where he can enjoy himself.
Right.
But it might be for a few weeks that he's there.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, if he's going down there, you might as well send him down there for a little while just to suck, especially if you're going to drive. It'd be crappy to, send him down there for a week. So you do a 9-hour drive, then you come back home for a week and then do a 9-hour drive. 18-hour drive there and back.
Yeah, I know. No, it would be for a few weeks. I think 3 weeks maybe.
Yeah. You'd have some no kid freedom for 3 weeks.
Yeah. What a great time.
All right? So much you can go do and
so much I can do.
Right. Finally get some stuff done around the house.
Yeah, like all that stuff I gotta do. Oh,
that's what I've been. It was just like, well, I can use this excuse to do some stuff around here, and then it's just like, or I could sit on the couch and I can watch this show or that show. And sitting on the couch typically wins.
I usually do that a lot.
Yeah, that's why
I forgot
it took me till today to start editing some of these episodes from 3 weeks prior.
Well, for me, it was getting close to recording time, and I'm like, I was laying in bed. I was super tired, and I was like, I gotta at least write the whole what did Matt do this week.
Right.
And so I got myself up. I went to just a store and picked up an energy drink, and I came back and got myself moving. But I also, one thing I did was I may have installed a fire hazard in my kitchen because my kitchen doesn't have any counter space, and so the giant microwave that was in the garage when we moved into the house, I took that. It worked, but you had to slam the door shut really hard for it to register that the door was shut. So that was living on the top of my stove. So anytime I wanted to cook anything on my stove, I had to lift it and move it over to expose two of the burners. And it was always halfway. It was halfway on my stove and kind of halfway almost leaning into the sink. And it was just always an annoying thing. So I got a smaller microwave and a couple brackets and a shelf. And I put it up above the stove.
Okay.
But it's a gas range, so there's actual flame coming up.
Right.
And it's about 20 inches. It's about 20 inches above the stove. Okay. Which any microwave that you install under that a thing like that above the range, that's lower than it's closer to the stove than that.
Okay.
But it's not on top of a wood shelf. It's just the bottom of the microwave. So I might be able to find a way to just get it suspended up there without resting on a wood shelf. We'll see.
Yeah.
But
it'll probably be fine. I mean, the flames aren't going to go that high. Unless you're cooking something and and with
You spill something in
with
there.
wine. Pour some alcohol in and.
I mean, didn't I tell you I line my pans with kerosene?
Oh,
so that my eggs don't stick.
Right. Yeah. Not for the flavor.
Yeah, not for the flavor at all.
Right.
It's really disgusting.
Right.
Yeah. I have butter. I don't know why. I mean, not right now. I really am out of butter right now, but normally I have.
I figured that was a real thing when you said it, just because it sounded like you were truly out of butter.
I am really out of butter. Yeah. So I do need to go get butter.
Well, tie Sophie to that chariot.
Oh yeah. Oh no, she's already dead.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, she was on the last trip.
Thank God.
Yeah. What?
Just imagining a chariot being pulled by little Yorkies. 4 little Yorkies.
I mean, I do plan on tying her to the chariot. Only it's to the back of the chariot. You know, people have like cans and stuff that they'll tie to the back.
Just gonna drag her.
It's gonna rattle. Yeah.
Just her and a couple other dogs just bouncing off each other.
Yeah. It's fun.
Right. For them.
Yeah. And you know, I've got some old baseball cards stuck into the spokes, you know, to make that sort of clicking sound or whatever.
Right.
Those cards made. I never did that as a kid.
Sound those cards made. Those darn cards back in the day.
To make that sound that those cards made when you put them in bike spokes.
You know what kind of I find slightly amazing is there's like a memorabilia shop just down the block from my house. And I didn't even think that places like that still existed. So it's like
a hobby shop kind of a thing?
No, like he sells mostly sports cards and stuff, which
oh really?
I mean, I know you can still buy sports cards, but I didn't think they were really that big of a deal anymore. Just kind of crazy. I guess people still collect them. So now I'm almost thinking
they gotta be still.
Yeah, so I'm thinking I need to get all my old baseball cards from my parents' house and see how much I can get for them.
You still have baseball cards, huh?
I still have baseball cards. I have football and basketball cards too, which is weird because I never collected those, so I don't know why I got them. But yeah, I have a bunch of baseball cards. I
only collected baseball cards. I don't remember how many I had. I know I had 4 albums full.
Right.
And I had a couple boxes that were a complete set of a year, Tops something or other, whatever year.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember if I had anything that was really worth anything, but I forget when or why, but a long time ago, I might have just been tired of lugging them around, but I did sell them all.
Yeah.
I sold them to a buyer who just bought the whole pile
right.
of them. So it wasn't
you didn't look at them. You just I'll give you X for them.
Yeah.
That's how I'm kind of thinking. So, I'm just curious as to, because I know a while back, long time back, but you could always get the things that would show you the value of the cards and stuff. So I know I had.
I think it's called a Beckett.
Yeah, I had. They're harder to find now. I tried to look online to see if I could value them online, which you think you'd be able to do, but I was having a hard time figuring it out. But I know I had a few that were worth a little bit, but not anything crazy, a few bucks here. I probably had 1 or 2 that were worth $20 or more or something. But this was forever ago. I'd be kind of curious as to if some of the value of those went up or down or what.
Yeah, I don't know. Both you and I don't follow it, but it just seems like the interest in general would be much lower than it used to be for collecting those things. Yeah. So I would imagine across the board, the value is probably next to nothing for most cards.
Right.
But who knows?
Other than really
you
rare
could find
ones.
some surprises.
Right.
Yeah.
I
remember there was supposedly some Frank Thomas rookie card where it was printed where there was just a little spacer for his name to be, but it didn't get printed on the card itself.
Oh, really?
So it was just a blank spot where his name was supposed to be. I think that exists, but unless you have something like that, I don't know if you're
a weird defective
much
card.
Out of, yeah.
Yeah, I'd be interested to know how much I'd be able to get for him.
But realistically, sports still go on, so they have to issue cards still for current players. I never look. Can you just go to a Target or something and
I think
there's
so.
Still a section where they have cards hung up,
Pokemon
cards or whatever. Yeah, maybe even Magic cards or something.
I think you can still buy sports cards, and I think Topps.
Well, they're probably in that memorabilia
just
shop
Topps
at least.
now. Yeah, I think Topps
really?
is really the only company that does it anymore. I think they kind of bought everybody out.
No Dunross or
No.
Post, I think, was one of them, or anything like that.
That was yeah. I don't know what the other ones were, but yeah, I don't think so. I could be
remember getting.
I could be wrong.
I remember getting baseball cards in some cereal boxes. Do you remember that? Did you ever get that? Yeah.
Yeah, there was that, and like I used to get a lot from when we would walk back from school because I lived right across from my elementary school, and he wasn't the police chief at the time, but he was like lieutenant or something. He was good friends with my parents, and he would always sit there to kind of help make sure people weren't flying down the road and killing kids. And he would always he'd always hand out baseball cards to everybody all the time.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, I used to get a lot of baseball cards from him. And then I know for a birthday one year, I got like a whole box of unopened baseball cards, and they're still unopened. I still have them all.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
I mean that could have something good in there. Have you ever looked at them? Are they?
So it was just
a box.
It was just a box. Yeah, the box is long gone because the box got damaged. But I just have all the packs unopened. There's like a puzzle, and there may be gum in there. So the gum is probably almost 30 years old now. So I think it was 91 or 92.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Come to think of it, there was a set, and for some reason I thought that this might have been worth money, but I think I got it out of like the JCPenney catalog or something. So know that there's just thousands of them printed or whatever. But it was this collection of photos that this one photographer used to take at, we're talking old school baseball games, like from the 20s and 30s and stuff. And they were never made into cards, but they decided to take all these old photos and make them into cards. But I don't even remember ever having anybody that I even recognized from those. But I ordered a set of those. So I didn't even have like a Babe Ruth or a Shoeless Joe Jackson or a Mickey Mantle or anything. Well, Mickey Mantle was later than that. But I for some reason thought that these were going to be like this valuable thing.
Right.
But they weren't cards that were made in the time.
Right.
So
they were just
they're not like
photos. They were copies of photos from
that were
back
old,
in that time. But the card and
cards
everything
themselves
all
were brand new.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they're probably not.
And anything you can order out of like the JCPenney catalog is probably not going to be something valuable in the long run. I forget. I think it was called the Conlon Collection.
Okay.
Yeah. Conlon Collection.
It would be interesting to look it up to see if they are worth anything now. Like if you had the full collection or something.
Did you have a favorite sport?
When I was a kid, I always liked baseball. I played it for 6 years.
Yeah. I would probably say I leaned toward baseball more than anything else.
Did you ever play it?
I played it very briefly. I played it first grade and second grade.
Okay. Yeah, I played first through sixth.
I remember taking a break. I told my mom I was taking a break from baseball after second grade. Partly because I think I was afraid of fast pitch, and I think third grade was when fast pitch was introduced, and I just never went back to it.
You're still just on a break. You can always go back. Sad thing.
I could.
Sad thing is at this point you're probably getting a little too old for the majors.
Yep, I'm getting too old for Little League.
Well, you're far too old for Little League. But
but that's what I would prefer to play.
Oh, that's what you still prefer to play. You can always.
I mean, for a multitude of reasons, but
I'm just gonna skim over that, and
you're gonna leave that one alone.
I mean, if your kid ever wanted to play, you could coach. You'd have to. I
could coach.
You'd have to take the time to learn a lot about baseball again.
To learn about baseball?
Well, just all the nuanced rules and everything of it.
I mean, I think it's pretty basic. I don't think I've really lost a lot of the rules.
I don't think it would take you long. I'm not saying like you have to study. I don't think you'll be quizzed.
I think you know the story, but my brother, because he played baseball around the same time I did, and I think we both just stopped at the same time. Okay. So then he realistically would have played through. He would have played third and fourth grade, even maybe if we both stopped at the same year, because he was 2 years ahead of me. But it was around seventh grade, I think, that he decided to try out for baseball again, and he was doing really well, and he went to tryouts, and he did really well at tryouts, and I think he was gonna make it onto the team, and I forget when his first practice was gonna be, but I remember it was Easter Sunday, and I think we had some plastic eggs hidden around the yard or something to go find.
Right.
And there was still some snow on the ground, kind of by the deck, where the bottom of the ground underneath the deck. And he decided he was going to go outside and look for eggs, and then just sort of leap over the deck railing. So he sort of leapt over the deck railing, and he was then hanging on to the railing and just hanging by his hands over the, on the outside of the railing over the deck. And then I remember him letting go of one arm and then letting go of the other arm. And then I'm pretty sure he landed on a bit of ice or something.
Okay.
And just slid and just landed on his side. And landed on the upper part of his arm.
Right.
And that bone snapped completely in half.
Oh, God.
So it was at such an awkward place where you couldn't do a cast or something.
Oh, really?
So he had to have it was sort of like a sling that was like strapped to his body. It wasn't like a regular sling where you could do this because it was loosely hanging, because it was up here. So he had to have it like attached to his body.
So that ended his baseball career.
It ended his resurging baseball career. Like, he didn't even get to go to one practice.
Oy.
And I mean, that's just a demonstration of the types of decisions that he makes.
Just think about, like, I don't know. It'd be interesting to see, like, if that wouldn't have happened, if his life would have been
what might have been,
like, way differenter.
Yeah,
way
different.
More. Yeah, I know. I say a lot of dumb stuff. I say so many stupid things when I'm not thinking and I'm talking on here, and I'm just, at this point, I'm just gonna go with it.
The weird thing is,
it's not like I'm dumber than I am.
It's not like this was something he did a lot. Like, I'm gonna jump over the deck again.
Right.
This was like the only time he ever did it. So it's not like, it wasn't something he had down pat. Like, he can stick the landing every time and he's confident.
Maybe,
and I don't know what.
Yeah, it's not like he was fishtailing around a corner by your house. Maybe this was his way of getting out of playing baseball. Like, he decided, oh no, I don't really want to do this. Instead of just quitting, I'm going to break my arm in a really awkward spot.
Yeah.
This is all deliberate.
And I don't remember. I can't remember how long he had to stay in that sort of sling. I would imagine it was at least 2 months or something, or I don't know how long it takes to heal. But this was a complete snap. It wasn't like a fracture, you know what I mean? It was a complete break.
That's
it had to take
that's a thick bone too.
Yeah, it had to have taken a long time to heal. So there goes his summer probably. I bet you his whole summer was shot. Because Easter was probably in April. It seems to typically fall into April, right?
Yeah.
So let's say. Well, I mean, maybe if he was healed up by end of June, he maybe could have. Maybe he could have had July and August to look forward to. But yeah, maybe he did not like the idea of playing baseball again, even though he was trying out for it.
Yeah, it's one of those things when you're like, yeah, I want to do this, and then as soon as it's happening, you're like, oh, this was a bad idea.
Yeah. So didn't you play basketball too?
Yeah, I did basketball for 3 years, 4th, 5th, and 6th grade. And my 4th grade year, we won one game.
Oh, wow.
And that was the only, so that game that we won, I don't know how we won it. Only five of the players were there for our team. So we had to play the entire game. So all 5 of us played the entire time. And it was the only game we'd won that year. And I was terrible.
Wow.
And then my 6th grade year, we only lost one game.
How many are on the court at once on one team?
5.
Oh, and then so there's how many people are on a team? Is it 10 or 11?
It depends. I mean, I don't know what professional teams have, but when typically with like, you know, grade school teams, you probably have 11 to 15 players or something like that, so you can rotate everybody a lot. So I don't know why.
Isn't there a movie?
Go ahead.
Oh, isn't there a movie called The 12th Man, which where it's like there's a ghost basketball player or something? That's
I have no idea.
I have to look it up now.
You might be thinking of Ghost Dad.
No, I'm not thinking of Ghost Dad.
That's too bad.
By that, I mean, I'm not mistaking this for Ghost Dad. I am thinking about Ghost Dad, though.
Okay. But no, I don't know. I couldn't explain why there was only 5 of us there. The other kids couldn't make it for whatever reason, but we had 5 players, so we had enough to play. And yeah, I don't think it was a very high scoring game, but we won somehow.
Well, what's that say about the other team?
Yeah, right? They couldn't beat 5 completely wiped out 4th graders who were just dead tired at the end of that game. But yeah, then my 6th grade year, we only lost one game ever. And that was so there was
Oh,
like
wow.
so there was like a mid-season tournament and then an end of the season tournament. And so the mid-season tournament is when we lost one of our games. So we ended up getting, I think we got third place in that tournament because we lost the game before the championship game of the tournament. So we ended up getting third. And then at the end, we won the end of the season tournament. We got first place though. That was an awesome team. Dash that here. And I was still pretty bad. I was a decent defensive player. I was not a very good offensive player. So I didn't score a lot, but I got, I would get a lot of rebounds and I would, do a lot of I would assist in points and stuff, but I was never a good scorer.
Would you say you were the Rodman of the team?
Potentially, I guess, in that sense. I would get rebounds. I would block, steal passes, stuff like that. But as far as scoring points, not so great. And then baseball, I was okay at baseball. Again, I was a better fielder than I was a batter. I was a terrible pitcher. Tried that one time in a game and it went bad. Yeah.
So I was wrong about the title of the movie is actually The Sixth Man. It must be the sixth player on the field on the court.
Right. It's like an Angels in the Outfield kind of situation.
Yeah, a college athlete returns from the dead to help his brother's basketball team win the NCAA title. It stars Marlon Wayans. It came out in 1997.
Is Marlon Wayans the ghost, or is he the brother?
I think, based on let me see if I get a closer shot of the cover. Marlon Wayans is the brother.
Okay. I
think Kadeem Hardison, I think, is the ghost player. Marlon Wayans is the living player. So the cover depicts, it looks like he's sort of lifting him up to help him get high enough to dunk the ball.
I mean, that looks like box office gold.
Yeah, it was probably terrible.
How many thumbs did it get? Any thumbs ups? How many thumbs ups did it get? Did it get 2 thumbs up?
From me?
Roger and Ebert?
Do they say that? I don't know.
They probably didn't even look at that movie.
I'm on IMDb, so I don't know if they have a section that tells you that.
Well, see, now you need to go to Rotten Tomatoes to see, because Rotten Tomatoes is like...
It'll tell you that?
No, it'll tell you what the Rotten Tomatoes score is, which is, based on people's reviews, not critics' reviews.
I gotcha.
And, I don't know how trustworthy that can be sometimes. Those are really bad too. Like I don't really trust critic reviews, and I don't really trust Rotten Tomato reviews and stuff like that. I try to judge stuff myself as much as I can, but
right.
But yeah, I don't know, because Rotten Tomatoes gave Jack and Jill 3%. That's the Adam Sandler movie where he plays both himself, or plays himself and his sister in the movie, or whatever. He's not playing himself, but he's both the brother and the sister.
I feel like I've heard of that.
I mean, I think 3% is generous. I've never seen it. I've seen clips of it. 3% is probably very generous.
So on Rotten Tomatoes, it got a 23% on the tomato meter. The audience score is 58%. For critics' consensus, it says no consensus yet.
Well, there's always a chance, right? It was only made in 97.
97. The box office gross was $14.8 million in the U.S.
Did it say what the budget was?
So, I don't see that, but I wonder if it says... I might have to go to...
If you go back to the Wikipedia page, it might say.
Oh, gosh.
Sometimes it'll say what the...
Well, I was never on that. I was never on Wikipedia. I was on
IMDb might say. I'm just kind of curious.
What's that one?
I'm surprised it made $14 million. Because there's much better movies out there that make... I mean, that's what I hate a lot of times, is that movies don't do well at the box office. So they basically are considered flops. But then all of a sudden people realize how great they were after the fact. So it's like
Mallrats.
Yeah, Mallrats. Mallrats is fine.
Well,
as far as Kevin Smith movies go, it's still one of his better ones, because his movies just started taking a real dive towards after a while.
And I only use that as an example because that one he's talked about how it completely flopped in the box office, but then developed a cult following and became much more popular afterward.
Right.
According to the IMDb, this movie, the budget, it says estimated, but it was 11 million.
Oh, so
And it grossed 14.7 million, so it did make
made money.
3.7 million back.
So yeah, it wasn't a total disaster then because it made money back. There was I was watching a thing. I watched some videos of this guy reviewing like cult movies and like just sometimes just really bad movies. And there was this movie, and now I got to try to look it up again because I don't remember what the movie was called. But it was from 2012, I believe. And it's like the worst. It's the lowest grossing movie ever.
Oh wow. Worse than The Room or whatever?
So yeah. I mean, the Room still kind of made some money. So I don't know. Let me see if I can find. I think it was 2012. I got to figure it out. Come on, what's this site?
Whoa, I might have found it.
What do you got?
I just searched lowest grossing movie ever. I'm not sure how to pronounce it, but it's like Zizek's Road.
No. Shoot, what's it called now? This is a really great audio here to listen to. I'm gonna find it.
well, I'll just tell you what this says on this movie while you look that up. So, this is from mentalfloss.com, but I think there's also info on it on plenty of other websites. But this says that it was made in 2006. It says by the time its run had ended, 6 people had seen it for a grand total of $30 in ticket sales, making it the lowest grossing movie of all time. And it says, yes, even still today.
Oh, so then my information might not be super accurate then.
So according to Mental Floss, that's part of a list of 11 movies that made less than $400 at the U.S. box office. There's also a movie called Storage 24 in 2013, which supposedly grossed $72. And then we have Dog Eat Dog in 2009, which was $80.
Yeah, so this movie then did better, I guess, because this one made like $100 and some.
Oh,
I just gotta find it.
That's probably on this list. This probably on this list then, since number 4 is up to $95.
Okay, we'll find it here in a second. I just had to go back to the guy's actual video.
You said it was 2012.
I believe it was 2012, so I'm hoping I was right.
I'm guessing I found it because there's one on the list that's from 2012 that grossed $117. It says.
Yeah, that should probably be it.
The Ghastly Love of Johnny X.
Yeah. So, I mean, it was definitely the lowest grossing movie of 2012. So, yeah.
Maybe that's what...
The movie made, $117. I don't know what the...
wow.
I don't know what the budget was. I believe it was significantly more than $117.
Well, it managed to break the $1,000 mark in revenues when it showed in 2 theaters in LA. $1,356 to be exact. Its total run earned back just $2,436 of its estimated $2 million budget.
There you go.
So then, how does it say it grosses $117 if it says it made back $2,436?
So I think, you're on the IMDb now. So yeah, first weekend it only made $86. At the end of its run of merely 2 theaters, the film grossed $2,436. Yeah, I don't know what the where the 117 comes from.
Yeah, because it says it only managed to scare up $117 during the week it spent in a single theater in Kansas City, Kansas, in October of 2012. Maybe that's because it had screened at the Kansas International Film Festival less than 3 weeks earlier. In the spring of 2013, Johnny tried again. So if this is focusing only on 2012, it appears to have made $117 in that year, but they released it again in the spring of 2013, where it played in 6 theaters over the course of 4 weeks.
And made that's where the $2,400 comes from?
Yeah. But still, it had a $2 million budget.
Yeah. So basically the movie, it's kind of an homage to like the 50s sci-fi movies. So it's kind of shot like this. So the whole thing's in black and white. It kind of looks like it has a cool look to the whole movie. But it's really the story is just kind of weird and doesn't make sense. And then I don't know. It's also a musical.
It's a musical too?
It's also a musical.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah. So yeah, the film is an homage to 1950s sci-fi teen and rock and roll of the era. It follows the adventures of Johnny X, an alien on Earth who is chasing his ex-girlfriend after she steals his powerful invention, the resurrection suit. So yeah, he has this like
resurrection suit.
He has this suit that he can basically control people and like resurrect people with, and she steals it. And so like he's chasing after her. He gets basically kicked off of his planet because he gets banished. So when they go to Earth, they become like a greaser gang, and then she runs off with his suit, so he's chasing her down. He ends up like getting hired by some guy to help like put on this concert. Like he's got like this really famous rocker is supposed to come do this concert, but he died. So he needs Johnny to come and basically use his resurrection suit so the guy like can play again, but like as a zombie. And then it turns out like he like finds out that the dead rocker guy is actually his dad, and like all this, it's so dumb. The rocker guy is played by Creed Bratton, who is an actual rock star, but he was the guy who played Creed on The Office. The older dude. Yeah, you're not. You weren't a big Office person.
No, I watched it for a while, but then I didn't get too far into it.
But he's kind of the weird old guy on The Office.
I think I can picture him. I don't remember how many seasons there were of that show, but
8 or 9.
I'm guessing I maybe got through 2 seasons or something.
Oh yeah, give it another shot. It gets good, and then it kind of gets okay again after that. Like I don't think it ever gets bad. I wouldn't say it ever gets bad, but like after what's his name leaves. Steve Carell. After Steve Carell leaves the show, it's kind of just okay after that.
I kept wanting to say Michael Scott. I couldn't remember his real name, but I could remember his character.
Right. So yeah, that's a weird movie. But I mean, it looks like the look of it, the filmography of it's kind of cool, and like if you're super like basically the people who made it obviously really liked 50s sci-fi movies. Like you could tell they had like a real kind of labor of love with the movie. So, I mean, it does look good. It's shot nice. It kind of has that feel to it. But unless you like those kind of movies, it's just kind of, obviously, it didn't do well.
It's not going to be appealing to you.
Right.
It's just going to be terrible.
Right. So, and I don't even think it's, it's not one of those movies that's even good enough to become a cult classic. It's just kind of whatever.
Yeah.
It's kind of died out. But yeah, to make that little back on your budget, holy Christ. Because it's ridiculous what they consider a box office bomb is basically anything that doesn't make back its budget. And it's like, even if it makes close to its budget, it's considered a failure, obviously, because you didn't make any money off of it. But it's like, and now, you don't really get much of anything through after sale either, because, people aren't really buying DVDs. And, I don't know how many people still like buy downloadable digital copies of movies, because most people just wait until it's available on whatever
to stream them somewhere.
Yeah, whatever their streaming platforms are, everybody will just wait for that. So, or
they find it, on some. There's a lot of pirating still, where you're not downloading it for free when you should be. You're streaming it for free when you shouldn't be.
Right.
So it's just a new form of it.
Exactly.
So
yeah, crazy stuff. Well, it's been an episode.
Yeah, it has. We're a little ways in. What, hour and a quarter?
A little over hour in.
Yeah. Considering that neither of us really brought anything to go over.
I brought nothing to the table other than the story this time. The stories, our week stories got us through almost halfway.
They got us through. Yeah, that was nice. But
yeah.
Anyway,
maybe next time we'll bring something.
Hey, another one in the books.
Yes.
It's done now.
It is done now.
I'm Sean, and we're done now.
Yep. I'm Matt. Bye.
Hey. High School Famous, bye.
If you like us, we're on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram as HSFamousPod. Email us at highschoolfamous@gmail.com. If you really love us, consider donating to our Patreon at patreon.com/highschoolfamous. Remember, we love you and want to have your babies.